What do you think the appeal is of why is there so much momentum behind the sport at the moment? Where does it, where's that appeal lie for most people?
Sure. I think I think a lot of the people who come into the sport, you get people who are coming into it from, with running backgrounds, with trail running backgrounds. You get a lot of triathletes coming into it and a lot of open water swimmers. And I think that the appeal is multifaceted. I think that there's a real sense of camaraderie at the events. I've found that when you're doing like individual endurance sports, you tend to have your head down at the events and be very focused on your own performance. And rightly so, you're there to race and you're there to do well. The difference then with a swim run is that your starting point is that you're racing with someone else and you're working at someone else's pace. And it just tends to lead to a more relaxed atmosphere at the events, almost like a sort of festival. Like everyone talks to each other. There's great camaraderie out on the course. And then you have the aspect of the element of racing with your best swim run buddy by your side, which is just really, really cool. So that's really unique. I think the second thing is that the courses themselves there's a real draw to the locations that swim runs typically take place in, and especially the locations that we tend to look for. I think this is something that is particularly true for triathletes. There's it's quite common if you look at a lot of triathlon courses, and this is not to take anything away from triathlon, it's just the way the sport is structured. It's quite common that you might have a circular swim leg followed by a bike that goes in a loop around wherever the swim transition point was, and a similar course for the run. And conceptually, I think that's great for racing, but conceptually for me, that doesn't get my juices flowing. Whereas in a swim run race, the places that we look for really wild locations, beautiful places to run. We look for places where we're off artificial surfaces, where we're away from man-made structures, where we can really put our athletes in something that's really wild and extreme. And then the courses themselves, if you look at our routes, they tend to be sort of these point-to-point events that take you on this journey through the places that we've selected for our courses. And in our experience, we find that even people who have lived locally to our events sometimes find that they are taken to places they've never actually been to before, even though it's right on their doorstep. So I think that conceptually those courses are really, it's a really exciting experience to race them. And, I guess the third thing, and this is probably particularly interesting for your listeners who have a swimming background, is that the swim run events often have the emphasis on swimming, on the swimming element, I'd say, is much higher than within triathlon. I mean, you can turn up to an Ironman triathlon and you can be awful in the swim, and it probably, if you're strong on the bike and strong on the run, it won't make too much difference to your day. Obviously it'd be better to go quickly in the swim, but it's not going to make or break your race. Whereas in swim run, if you're a strong swimmer, that is really going to impact your performance, and you're going to have a really, really good day. So I think it's great that I tend to be strongest on the swim and on the other. I tend to be strongest on the swimming stages, and it's great to have a sort of multi-sport event where the swimmers are rewarded for their abilities.